Hey, good morning everybody. This is Paul, and you see the greenhouse this morning. It's 89 degrees inside there. It is 54 outside. Being Easter weekend, we decided to take on the task, and I'm gonna call it de-winterizing and spring planting. Anyway, I'll take you a walk around the yard for a before and after picture. And this area here is usually full of pine bark nuggets. We have some water wash away damage here from the recent storms we've had. So we're going to need to repair that. These are Calla lily plants, and these honestly did not like the cold very much. Believe it or not, this plant started out with just 2 plants, and we planted them by the house. We planted them over there by the house, completely filled up that bed, and then we've actually transferred them into 2 different places. We have them here, we have them here, and we also have them here. And in the summertime, and we got them one more place, we also have them here. And they've completely taken over this old hickory stub from the hickory tree that was planted around here. Now, as the property started, this was just grass, and then we had this big area over here that had a big hickory tree in it. And when we cut it down due to lightning and termite damage, I decided to start basically doing a little bit of a garden. We started with a walkway that just went up this way with the plants that went along the walkway. And then the next step, this is over several years, the next step, we actually created a little bench area right here underneath the tree. Actually, this was by accident, because when I was working on the walkway, being out in the sun and the heat, I found this tree to be very refreshing. A little bit of wind going up in the summertime heat, and so we got a bench and a cover here to hold covers. The next step, I added a from Home Depot, about $400. I added this fire pit kit. It comes with the stone bricks that goes around it and the internal metal cage. And I started it with lava rock running along the path, and then I started with river stones along the side, and then here I just used regular driveway gravel here, which I thought would look pretty good. I'll use it to go ahead and finish this part out, but in this area here I'm gonna need to build, you may not be able to see it from the video, but there's quite a big grade. I'm gonna need to build a retaining wall before I can finish the seating around the fire pit. But anyway, over the next couple of weeks, we're gonna fill this back in all with pine straw, get rid of the weeds and everything else. And then in future seasons, I'd like to actually build a retaining wall, maybe put a lot of gravel in here, because replacing the pine straw once or twice a year is a little bit tedious and a little bit of cost consuming. We've got this plant here. I'll have to look up the name of it, but I really like it. It's got the yellow leaves with the green. It grows year round. Japanese maple, one of 2 Japanese maples on the property. I really like this tree. I also have this tree here. It's got the green leaves with the yellow tips. Very nice tree here. And then we just plant plants in different planters and move the planters out here. Now this entire area is covered with a drip irrigation system. Every spring when I come through here, you have to come through and fix it. Because plants die. In this particular area here, I was trying some ground cover all in this area here. So anyway, none of that stuff really made it, really never took off. So I'm going to have to disassemble the the irrigation system here, and we'll probably just end up putting eventually rock in this area. But maybe plant a couple plants in here, but not the numbers that you do. Soccer. Other thing. And somewhere over here, I guess you need to have the water running, but I found where a soccer cleat stepped in and created a hole in the drip pipe. There's actually a couple of those through here. So anyway, first thing you do is look at your garden, see what improvements you want to do if you can, and then see what the budget is going to allow. This got a lot of wood for the fire pit that I was saving for the winter time. I'm going to have to go through and actually probably just burn that before the fire burning ban comes on. I had that in case we decide to do smoke outs. I mean, in case we decide to do fire pit fires and roast hot dogs and stuff. But with the swings in temperatures and the large amount of rain and stuff like that, just the wood was never dry enough to use and to create a fire pit, and we were just too busy to do it. I did another path along this particular area here. It goes to the gate for people that are visiting. I hope to eventually run it up and you know, fill it up all the way, have a little step or two to the retaining wall and do that. That'll come way down the road. This pathway along here, these are the plants that I showed you originally. These plants was just 2 plants when it first was planted, and it's completely consumed this area to the point where I'm going to have to start digging up bulbs. I tried a year ago to try to contain it by putting some of this weed cloth in and putting gravel on top of it, but these plants basically, they weren't going to have that. This is the path that goes up to the gate, and a couple years ago I actually decided I didn't want to keep buying pine straw and stuff, and I actually started using rocks. And I think they're called pebbles. They're not necessarily river pebbles, but they're I bought these all at Home Depot. They come about $4 per bag. I'm going to try to find a truck and see if I could just get a truck that'll deliver a lot of these. And I would like to really truly get rid of the pine bark and the pine straw in a lot of areas, so that we're not putting down 20 bales of pine straw every year, because it really does help to deplete the weed growth. This is the first area I actually built out, so it does do a real good job of preventing the weed growth. Anyway, along here I got several rose bushes. This is the first bed I ever built. This here used to just be just a little mud area, and I dug the mud out, put some potting soil in there, and planted a few plants, and these plants come back every year. We have a hosta, Oriental Lilies, and several other plants that come back every year, and these are perennials, and we really actually don't do anything with this bed, except for this year we'll put some pine straw or pine nuggets down to cover it up, because it has rotted. As you can see, there is pine nuggets in here, but they've kind of completely fallen apart. As you can see, I do low voltage lighting, and I actually got this all set up on drip irrigation, so it's automatically watered and everything. So that's all set up there. Also, this area here, we're starting out the spring. It looks like it needs a little bit of help here. I actually want to put in another light or two in this area. This area here, we usually use this just to put annuals. We'll plant a few annual flowers here, and then the rest of this stuff is perennials. I really like the violet purple color of this plant here. It grows, and then you just cut it off at the bottom and it regrows every year. This one here, I really like the color of this plant here, but it just looks so bad the next year. So we're going to probably cut this back, maybe take this out and put something else in. We had a bunch of Oriental Lilies that are coming along here. Oriental Lily here. We've got more of this plant here. I'm going to show the name of the plant on there. It grows pretty big. It does a good job, but it just does not look good the second year. It may be that it should be completely pruned and we didn't do it, or what. So we're going to either prune this back or remove this and replace this with another plant. And then this is the plant that I truly like. These things are elephant ears. And I just protected these from the freeze that we had a couple of nights ago. But these things here will grow to about 6 to 7 feet tall, and really provide a real good corner view. This right here, along this area here, as you can see, the water runs down the house. It used to wash away the soil there with the rocks, and then just comes in here and digs the dirt out of this bed. So we're gonna of course, replace the soil, and I would like to put rock here. We'll probably put pine bark here just to get it going, and then eventually I'm gonna get these larger stones and put in this area here to help cover the water, maybe even to a little bit to divert the water a little bit this way to cover this area. I've got drip irrigation and electrical running through this whole area. The front's lit up real nice. The trees are lit up real nice. I'm going to put a couple of more lights here on the side. I came up with an idea to handle the water rushing down. I have these little tiny concrete planters that I'm going to basically allow the water to come down, hit those, and then go along the side there. Back them up with rocks. And I've transplanted some lilies into there, moved a lemongrass into there. I'm going to back this up with soil. But first, I'm going to check the sprinkler system and see if we have any leaks, and go ahead and get that finalized before I cover it in soil. But I'm going to show you what an afternoon, what a day of working out in your yard can make the change. You probably saw the video yesterday of our yard, and we put down pine straw in that area. Home Depot sells this red bark. I put this red bark down, a little bit of lava rock refresh. It didn't fill up the whole area, but I put it down in some areas where it's washed away. Pine straw covers that area there. And we've really cleaned up the backyard quite a bit. As you walk through the path here, actually I burned up a bunch of, we had a fire last night. I had been saving a bunch of twigs and stuff like that to use as to use in the fire pit during the winter time. We actually never really did a roast of, we never really actually did any roasted hot dogs or anything over the fire. We did do marshmallows, but we didn't use up all the wood. But we've completely refreshed this yard. Anyway, getting ready for a Easter egg hunt. Today is Easter Sunday, and we've prepared for an Easter egg hunt to take place this weekend. If we go around to the front yard, we did the same thing. Side yard didn't really have to do much to this because it's rock. It stands pretty good by itself. I eventually would like to do stone throughout the entire backyard. For the flower beds, I used this big nugget mulch. I'll put a bag of it up, a picture of the bag up on the screen there. But this large nugget, this mulch lasts a long time. It's going to protect the host of plants, the Oriental Lily plants, real good. Over here, we've in each one of these beds, we refreshed the soil. I made a new mix of soil, and you can see a lot of the particulate in the soil, but I dropped new soil down, and then we covered it with that large pine bark mulch. Just really cleaned up this area here. Talking yesterday where water just comes running down that side of the house and basically washes that out. So I put these concrete bed pavers in, and then put some flowers in there. We moved some of the flowers that were kind of damaged in the center of the bed by the water running down, and we put them in there. I don't know how well they're going to grow or capitalize on there. And look at that, I found an Easter egg. Look at that. But anyway, we've refreshed that. And in here, we've got a couple plants that come out. They're in dormancy now, but anyway, there's 2 big plants that will come and cover up that particular area. I laid down several inches of soil to even that out and put some pine bark. I actually put the pine bark remnants from the area where I put the red pine bark soil, just to basically reuse that. The nursery that we get the large pine bark soil was closed today, so anyway, no can do on getting extra. That's one of the hardest things when you're actually doing one of these projects, is being able to correctly estimate how much product you need. With what I bought yesterday, I bought 4 bags of pine bark. I had 1 bag already. I bought peat moss, and turns out I didn't need that much peat moss. I bought for particulite, and kind of interesting, I was out of particulite, and then I found a bag of it, so I had a small bag of that already. But mushroom compost and other stuff like that. But the hardest part is just estimating how much you're going to need for each project. And when you that's the hardest part to know, so you don't have to do so many repeat trips. You don't want to buy too little, have to keep driving back and forth, but you don't want to have to buy too much and not have enough. But anyway, this is how the garden turned out. A good solid afternoon of work with me, my wife, and my son doing it. But I think it definitely looks a lot better. Well, anyway, I know the video will be posted well after Easter, but happy Easter, happy spring, and hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day.